Hi everyone. I have to explain myself first. No, I don't have to explain myself, but I'm going to explain myself before I start to talk. I went up this evening. It's 8:30 now. I went upstairs earlier on and took my makeup off and put my pajamas on because I thought I was done for the evening, and then remembered that I wanted to do this video for a blog post. And I was like, oh, I have my makeup off. And then I thought, well, actually, considering the blog post I'm about to do, this is the way I should be doing it. So I am totally makeup free. Baby puke here. Yeah, baby puke here. I suppose my hair is blow dried, so it's not too bad. But anyway, you'll understand why it's important that I actually not be made up when I start talking about what I'm going to talk about. So I was saying on Snapchat after being at this film on Sunday that I didn't want to be rambling on and on Snapchat, that I wanted to come on and make a proper video about this so that people who are really interested in it can come and watch it. So that's what I'm doing now. So basically, I wanted to talk about a film I went to see on Sunday night called Embrace, and it was put together by a woman called Taryn Brumfitt, who is from Australia. And just to give you a bit of background first, okay, so Taryn had 3 children, and after having her children, she didn't like her body. She found that she had a lot of excess body fat and she wanted to do something about it. So a friend encouraged her to try out for a bikini body competition. So she undertook, I think it was 18 weeks of like extreme diet and exercise, lost a whole load of body fat, went and did the competition, was what she thought was her ideal body weight, what most people would see as quite an ideal body weight, but realised then very quickly that she was absolutely miserable and that it all had taken too much sacrifice and it wasn't worth it and she wasn't happy, and like she'd spent so much of her life thinking that she would be happy if she could do this, and she put back on weight and then considered surgery, and just at the last minute kind of stopped and looked at her very young daughter and thought, hold on a second, what if she came to me and said she didn't like her body and wanted surgery? Like, I wouldn't want her to do that, and but here I am doing it, so how could I tell her that she shouldn't do it? So from there she embarked. I have notes here, guys, I'm going to have to look at them because I can't remember everything, but she basically led her to look at the whole issue of women believing that happiness um, is around the corner, and it's a certain size, it's a certain colour, it's a certain look, it's certain clothes. You know, a lot of women do believe that if they just had this or just wore this size or this look, then they would be happy. And there are a lot of industries who benefit from continuing to make women believe this, continuing to make them believe that if they did have these things and if they did follow these diets and spend all this money basically, that they'd be happy. But obviously the film showed that, you know, those things don't bring happiness. And while I think a lot of us like to believe that we know these things won't bring happiness, I still think an awful lot of us are influenced by these things. And she showed in the film how the media, in particular social media, goes into all this, and how the social media aspect is what's driving an awful lot of this. So it was really, really interesting to watch that end of it. What was I going to say? Yeah, so like I said, it was looking at her daughter that made her realise that she had to look into this, that this was something that she wasn't happy to just let be going on all in the world without highlighting it. And I have to say that's kind of how I've come into this realm recently as well. Since finding out that I was expecting this little miss here, I realised that I had some body image issues, and that just the whole influence of social media was something that I wasn't happy with, how much it influenced me sometimes, not all the time, and how I wanted to really get a grip on that before I start kind of trying to help her in the world with all these things. Um, so my take on the film, okay, I have to be honest and say, and people who follow me know this, I'm a firm believer that absolutely everybody should try and be physically active as much as they can, okay? I also believe that they should eat a healthy, balanced diet. But balance for me also includes foods that wouldn't be considered healthy. That's all part of balance for me. That's kind of, that's life. You have to enjoy life. And but I do also believe, and more so now since I saw this film, particularly in relation to myself, that shouldn't involve too much sacrifice. I like to think, and I think from the comments and the feedback I get from my online courses, I like to think that my courses don't cause people to have to sacrifice too much. And if anyone does, you know, I would like them to talk to me about that, because I never want anyone sacrificing. You have to be able to live a real life. Like, I'm all for encouraging people to get fitter and healthier. I mean, that's what I do for a living. But you have to allow real life to happen as well with that. But I will stand firm on that belief. I do believe everyone should be physically active and everybody should eat healthily. So I suppose there was some little bits of her film that I had issues with. And acceptance is brilliant. Everyone should accept themselves, because I don't really think we can actually move to a place of happiness unless we do accept ourselves, because we always have to take in mind, but what if I can't change? What if I can't be thinner? What if I can't, what if the things I buy and the makeup I put on doesn't make me feel better? I have to accept myself as I am. But I still think, it is okay to strive to be fitter and healthier. I prefer people to focus on that element rather than focus on what they look like. And if there is also a place for for being allowed to care what you look like too. I mean, the world is the world too, and it's not going to change that much that people will never not care about looks. But I think for me, it's looking at it in terms of, what do I have to give in order to look like this? Okay, so I like I do like to have fake tan on me, but there have been, particularly since I had Jodie, there have been like weeks where it would just cause me to have to stay up late. It would have to cause me to have to do a whole wash of sheets and stuff like that just to put false tan on. So I've kind of been at the stage now where I'm like, it's actually not worth it. I'm okay being this colour for a while until things get easier and I can get more sleep. I am afraid for her, and I know from talking to a lot of women on Snapchat that they are afraid for their daughters too, because, I mean, we were influenced, yes, but for most of my life up until kind of my mid-teens, I had to pick up a magazine to really be influenced, or at least that's what I think. But now, it's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. And I suppose that's why I'm trying to get a grip on it myself. And I think mothers, we have to be so, so careful of, number one, the way we talk about ourselves and our bodies and our looks around our children, particularly our daughters, but also the things we let them see and the things that we let them see us looking at. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about, the influencers, the people that we're watching a lot on Snapchat and Instagram and all this. If we're watching them, we can't tell our daughters not to watch them, and we can't tell our daughters not to be picking up the same messages that we're picking up, that if we had this, looked like this, were more of all these things, that we'd be better, that we'd be happier, because we would not. Taryn gave a really good tip, actually. Somebody asked in the audience, because she did a Q&A after, and somebody asked, well, how do we bring this home to our daughters? How can we apply this at home? And she said, just one small situation, she said, recently that happened to me. She said, my daughter ran in and she had into me in the room, and she had put a dress on her, and she said something like, Mommy, am I beautiful? And she said, yes, darling, you're beautiful, but what are you going to do today in that dress? And I thought that was a lovely message. It brought the focus away from what she looked like in the dress and brought the focus to, well, what fun are you going to have in that dress today? What fun thing are you going to do in the world? And I think that's where the crux of it is for me as well. Like, yes, it's okay to want to be a certain size and all that, but we have to remember that there are so many more exciting things in the world to be doing, and we have so much more in us to be concentrating on than to spend our lives concentrating on being a certain size or looking a certain way. Because while you put all your energy, and she really drove this home to me in the film, while you put all that energy into being that size and looking that way, you could be putting your energy into things that are so much more beneficial for you and for the world. Like, and I don't mean to sound like spacey with that, but I mean it. Like, I mean, there are people out there with great minds, and they are hung up on the size that they are, when they have the minds to do all these unbelievable things. And I just think, that's sad. I loved a quote that she used when she was talking, I think in the film and after in the Q&A, and that was that your body is a vehicle, not an ornament. Your body is not an ornament, it's a vehicle. I think that's the way she put it. I think that is just brilliant, because if you can think of it like that, who wants to be perfect if they're not going to enjoy life? Really, what's it all about? This film I went to see was in the Odeon in at the Point in Dublin. It's a small film, so you can get it to different cinemas, but it has to be on request. Okay, so I know that there's somebody bringing it to the Odeon in, I think it's Kildare, so I presume Newbridge, and somebody bringing it to another Odeon in Dublin. I don't know how much interest there'd be. I would absolutely love to bring this film to the Odeon in Portlaoise. It's a central location, so anyone who's not that close by could come to it. I'm going to put this out there on Snapchat, but for anyone who's not on Snapchat, I'd really appreciate if you'd email me, breed@fitwithbreed.ie, if you'd be interested in coming to see this film. Now, there would be a lot of effort involved in getting the film into the cinema, so I really would only like people to contact me if they're really interested. I'd probably look at getting it screened maybe on a Friday night or something. If it's a thing that people aren't that interested, I will post details of how you can see it up in Kildare instead, and that might be helpful for some people. Everybody needs to see this film, but in particular, teenage girls need to see this film. Women who are mothers of girls need to see this film, and any woman who has spent too long battling their bodies, battling against their looks, needs to see this film, because genuinely I was in tears, my mother was in tears, we were all in tears watching it, because it was such a powerful film to watch. And I get a lot of people contacting me on Snapchat about how they're so they love how honest I am, and how they really want to go against this whole Snapchat, Instagram influence that's going on at the minute. And if people truly, truly do want to do that, this is the place to start. And I think this is the sort of film that could allow a movement to happen for this sort of world to change, and this sort of negative sort of influence to change. I will leave it there because you are probably falling asleep now at this stage. But I hope you enjoyed this little video, and if you have any questions at all, give me a shout. And I really, really encourage people to try and see this film, whether we can get it going in Portlaoise, or whether people go and see it. I'm going to go and see it again, I think. I think it's February the screening is on in Kildare, but I'll let you know anyway. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.